In the heart of Igboland, where the sun dipped into the horizon and painted the sky with hues of crimson and gold, there lived a young girl named Neoma. She was a curious and adventurous child, with eyes that sparkled like the stars on a clear night. Neoma lived with her wise and aged grandmother, Eneni, who was renowned for her knowledge of the ancient myths and legends of their people. Eneni would often tell Neoma stories of the mischievous spirits that roamed the forest and the brave warriors who fought to protect their village. One evening, as the full moon cast its silvery glow over the land, Neoma heard a strange whispering in her ear. It was a soft, raspy voice that seemed to come from the shadows themselves. The voice spoke of an ancient evil that threatened to destroy their village, and only Neoma's bravery and wit could save them. Neoma was both frightened and intrigued. She knew she had to embark on a journey to uncover the truth and save her home. With Eneni's guidance and blessing, Neoma set out into the unknown, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As Neoma ventured deeper into the forest, an eerie presence around her. She walked for hours, the moonlight casting eerie shadows on the trees. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was a tall, gaunt woman with eyes that glowed like embers. She introduced herself as Akwakwa, a spirit who had been wronged by the villagers many years ago. Akwakwa told Neoma that she had been awakened by the villagers' disrespect for the ancient traditions and their disregard for the land. She sought revenge by cursing the village with famine, disease, and destruction. Neoma listened intently, knowing she had to persuade Akwakwa to lift the curse. She shared stories of her grandmother's wisdom and the villagers' efforts to honor their ancestors. Akwakwa was unmoved, but Neoma's bravery and determination struck a chord within her. She presented Neoma with 3 trials to prove her worth. 1. Retrieve a crystal from the depth of the forest river. 2. Bring back a feather from the rarest bird in the land. 3. Sing a song that would make the stars weep. Neoma accepted the challenges, knowing she had to save her village. With each trial, she faced formidable obstacles, but her wit, courage, and kindness ultimately prevailed. As she completed the final trial, Akwakwa's ember-like eyes softened. She saw the good in Neoma's heart and the village's potential for redemption. The curse was lifted, and the village was saved. Neoma returned home to a hero's welcome. Her grandmother, Eneni, smiled knowingly, proud of the young girl who had saved their village. From that day on, Neoma was known as the Brave One, and her legend lived on for generations to come. As time passed, Neoma's legend grew, and people from neighboring villages came to seek her wisdom and guidance. She continued to live with her grandmother, Eneni, who taught her the ancient ways and secrets of their people. One day, a stranger arrived in the village. He was a young man named Ezeki, who claimed to be a wandering musician. He carried a mysterious instrument, unlike any that Neoma had ever seen. Ezeki's music was enchanting, and soon, the villagers were mesmerized by his melodies. But Neoma noticed something strange. The music seemed to be weaving a spell, making the villagers forget their troubles and their connection to the land. Neoma confronted Ezeki, sensing that his music was not as innocent as it seemed. He revealed that he was on a mission to collect the memories of the people, to use their collective experiences to fuel his own dark magic. Neoma knew she had to stop him. She challenged Ezeki to a musical duel, determined to break the spell and free her village. The duel began, with Neoma singing a powerful song of her own, one that spoke of the land, the ancestors, and the true spirit of their people. The music clashed, and the villagers began to awaken from their trance-like state. They joined Neoma, singing and dancing together, their collective energy overpowering Ezekiel's dark magic. Ezekiel fled, defeated, and the village was saved once more. Neoma's legend grew, and her name became synonymous with bravery, wisdom, and the power of traditional knowledge. But little did Neoma know, a new challenge was on the horizon, one that would test her courage and wisdom like never before. As Neoma basked in the praise of her village, a subtle smile crept onto the face of her grandmother, Eneni. But it wasn't a smile of pride or joy. It was a smile of hidden knowledge, of secrets kept and lies told. For Eneni, the wise and aged grandmother, had been hiding a dark truth. She was, in fact, the one who had sent Ezekiel to the village to test Neoma's abilities and prepare her for a greater purpose. But why? Neoma wondered, as she began to notice strange behavior from her grandmother. Why would Eneni put their village in harm's way? The truth began to unravel when Neoma discovered an ancient text hidden away in Eneni's chambers. The text spoke of an ancient prophecy, one that foretold the coming of a great darkness, one that only Neoma's unique gifts could counter. But at a terrible cost. The prophecy demanded that Neoma sacrifice her own soul, her own identity, to save their world. And Eneni, believing in the prophecy, had been manipulating events to prepare Neoma for this fate. Neoma felt betrayed, her trust shattered. She confronted Eneni, who revealed her true intentions. The wise and aged grandmother, once a guiding light, now seemed like a master manipulator. Torn between her love for her grandmother and her own sense of self, Neoma faced an impossible choice: embrace her destiny and sacrifice her soul, or forge her own path and risk everything. Neoma's heart raced as she grappled with the weight of her grandmother's words. She felt like her whole world had been turned upside down. The woman she trusted most had been manipulating her all along. Why, Eneni? Neoma asked, her voice shaking with emotion. Why would you do this to me? Eneni's expression was resolute, but a hint of sadness crept into her eyes. I did it to save our people, Neoma. The prophecy is clear, only you can defeat the darkness that threatens to consume us all. But at what cost? Neoma protested. My soul, my identity, is that really the price I must pay? Eneni's face hardened. You have a destiny to fulfill, Neoma. I will not let you turn your back on it. Neoma realized that her grandmother would stop at nothing to ensure she followed the prophecy. She felt trapped, with no clear way out. In desperation, Neoma turned to the one person she thought she could trust, her childhood friend, Okoro. Together, they hatched a plan to uncover the truth behind the prophecy and Eneni's intentions. But as they delved deeper into the mystery, they discovered a shocking secret: Eneni was not who she seemed to be. Her true identity was far more sinister, and her motives far more complex. Okoro and Neoma's investigation led them to a hidden underground chamber, where ancient artifacts and mysterious symbols adorned the walls. They uncovered a dark history about Eneni's past, revealing a shocking truth. Eneni was once a powerful priestess of the very darkness she claimed to want to defeat. She had made a pact with malevolent forces to gain immortality and power, but at a terrible cost. Her soul was bound to the darkness, and she was forced to serve it for eternity. The prophecy, Neoma realized, was a ruse. Eneni had manipulated events to ensure Neoma's powers would be used to further her own dark agenda. The sacrifice of Neoma's soul would grant Eneni unimaginable power and control. Horrified, Neoma and Okoro knew they had to stop NNE. But as they turned to leave, they were met with a terrifying sight. NNE, her eyes blazing with malevolent energy, stood before them, surrounded by dark forces. "You fools," NNE spat. "You think you can defeat me? I have the power of the ancients on my side." With that, she raised her hands, and the chamber began to darken. Neoma and Okoro knew they were running out of time. Neoma and Okoro knew they had to act fast. They combined their strengths, using Neoma's knowledge of the ancient law and Okoro's combat skills to fight against NNE's dark forces. The battle was intense, with spells and swords clashing in the dimly lit chamber. Neoma faced off against her grandmother, determined to stop her evil plans. But as the fight wore on, Neoma began to feel a strange sensation. Her powers, once used for good, were now being drawn to the darkness. She felt herself becoming stronger, more seduced by the malevolent energy. Okoro noticed the change in Neoma and knew he had to act fast. He used his knowledge of the ancient artifacts to create a powerful symbol of light, one that would counteract the darkness's influence. With a surge of hope, Okoro activated the symbol, and a blinding light filled the chamber. Neoma felt the darkness's hold on her weaken, and she broke free from it. Together, they turned their attention to NNE, who was now consumed by the very darkness she had once controlled. With a combined effort, they banished the evil forces and shattered NNE's hold on the ancient powers. As the darkness dissipated, Neoma and Okoro stood victorious but scared. They knew their friendship and determination had saved their village, but at a great personal cost. Neoma realized that her true power came not from her abilities, but from her choices. She vowed to use her gifts for good, to protect her people and honor her true heritage. And so, a new chapter began for Neoma and Okoro, one of hope and redemption, as they worked together to rebuild their village and restore the light of their ancestors. The end.